Alright, so this is the technique video for the contemporary combination we learned yesterday. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of pick certain parts of the dance, little moves here and there, and kind of clean those up. Alright, so we could be working on our technique as well as learning combinations, okay, so we can actually apply them. The first part is where we bring our hands down. We went hands down on 8, okay, right? So we did down 8, and we went around, okay, and we tucked and rolled, yes, okay. That, you want to think about it more of as like an attitude, okay? So if you think about it, okay, I want you to turn to the side, all right? It works if you can see yourself doing it, so you can really see your lines, okay? But if I put my legs straight back, okay, right? My hips are square, my legs are straight back, okay? Now if I turned out, like it'd be like for an arabesque, my hip obviously is turned out, but I'm not open like this. You see that difference here versus here? Oh, falling. Okay. So of course we have our difference between, you know, parallel and then nice and turned out, right? But an attitude, we want your hip is flat. Well, your leg is flat rather. So a lot of times with attitudes, when you're doing this, like if you're holding here, okay, a lot of times we'll drop our knee, so when you get like this broken line, whereas, you know, in dance we're creating shapes and everything, okay, and we're creating lines, so no elongate lines. So if I drop my knee, that breaks my line, right? It's not as visually pleasing, okay? So you want to think about this nice open shape, okay? So even from the front you can see it's rounded rather than drops back, okay? With that though, you don't want to open up your hip, because then we get this, oh, I can't even hold that, okay? And it makes it 10 times harder. So you really want to work through your hip flexors and pushing them down so you can hold it here, okay? Now, that comes into play because while we're down here, right, I go attitude around. You see how I'm finding that you don't want to drop your knee in, because then again we break our line. If it's straight, if you do it straight, that's okay too. Your hip, do you see how here I like lift my hip? You keep your hips square, okay, and then that way you can press into it to your tuck and roll, okay? All right, the next thing we're gonna work on, this can be applied for absolutely every single butt roll you ever do, okay? So if I'm butt rolling, okay, I'm just gonna do one standing to roll, all right? I think you can see me now, okay? If I tuck, when I'm rolling, I wanna make sure that my toes are pointed the whole time, okay? Because if I butt roll, my feet are flexed, it looks like I'm working really hard. And again, talking about like the lines, it really cuts off those lines, breaks those lines. So if I do a butt roll, I'm gonna face the back so you can see what it would look like if you're behind me. Okay, so if I tuck and roll and I do it wrong with flex feet, I get this where I'm like trying to step up, right? And that's something simple that we often forget about because it's more typically used as a transition step or when we want to get places fast, right? So a lot of times we're rushing through them, where really we need to focus on our technique there more than ever, okay? So that applies to right after we, okay, come around, when I tuck my knee, okay? My knee's tucked right now. My feet are entirely pointed, okay? You want to think about your ankle pressing into the ground. I'll talk about that in a second. So when I'm rolling, my leg's flat, but notice this foot is still pointed, okay? All the way through. I step on it and I stand. I never flex foot even while I'm standing. This is straight the whole time. All right, so when you're pressing your ankles into the ground, wait, where can you see me? Okay, so when you're pressing your ankles into the ground, a lot of times we'll get like this. Do you see what happens to my foot? Or when I'm butt rolling, I get this weird angle. Okay, so you always want to push through your ankle as well, not only just your foot, because if I mean, I know it's hard to tell because I'm in tennis shoes. But if you point your toe, it doesn't necessarily mean you can point your ankle. But if you point the whole way through your leg, okay, by engaging your leg, it forces the rest of it makes your point become easier, okay? So if I'm down on the ground, the thing about tucking that ankle, pressing it into the ground, okay, so I don't have this weird angle, okay? So when I'm butt rolling, I don't want to, say it was from standing, okay? So if I went here, I want to get rid of that, press into the ground, sit, point the whole way through, point, roll to stand, okay?